Okay. All right, I'm calling to order, actually, I can do this. Calling to order this meeting of Salem Historic Landmarks Commission on March 19th at 5:32 p.m. We take roll call, please.
Commissioner Cornetti.
Here.
Commissioner Strong.
Here.
Commissioner Kaiser.
Here.
Commissioner Inman.
Here.
Commissioner Kirkman.
Here.
And Commissioner Ogun.
And I think, we'll,
I'll get.
if he comes in, we'll invite him in and read him in or whatever, so. All right. Do we have any members of the public? There might be possibly some, maybe. Oh, wait a moment here. Okay. I'm not seeing any members of the public, but are there any members of the public here? Oh. I'm guessing not. Okay. All right, we'll move on to the consent calendar and the approval of minutes for the February 19th meeting.
I'll move approval of the minutes.
Okay, is there a second? Second. All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes for February 19th meeting. Is there any discussion? All right, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carries. We have no public hearings. We'll move on to special orders of business. And our action item is staff report for Willamette National Cemetery, 106 information, or 106, section 106.
I'm Jake Morris, Preservation Planner. I'd like to enter this presentation into the record. This evening, we're here to take action on a request to review the determinations of eligibility and findings of effect on 2 cultural resources, which are within the area of potential effect for the development of a new cemetery. Before discussing the project specifically, I'd like to give a summary of the Section 106 review process. National Historic Preservation Act of 1966 created a process for federal agencies to follow when projects may affect historic resources. Among other things, Section 106 requires federal agencies to take into account the effects their actions may have on historic properties including prehistoric or historic districts, sites, buildings, structures, or objects that are listed or are eligible for listing on the National Register of Historic Places. Actions subject to review under the NHPA, referred to as federal undertakings, include actions directly undertaken, funded, or permitted by a federal agency, and actions administered by state or local governments delegated or approved by a federal agency. The process of evaluating the effects of undertakings on historic properties is called a Section 106 review. The first step is Section 106 is triggered by a federal undertaking. Under the Act, undertaking is defined as a project, activity, or program funded in whole or in part under the direct or indirect jurisdiction of a federal agency. Once they determine a proposed federal action is an undertaking, the agency determines whether the action is a type of activity that has the potential to cause effects on historic properties. At this stage, the agency is not required to determine whether such effects may be adverse, which means they alter it in the resource in a way that would diminish its historic integrity, or whether the undertaking is likely to affect any specific historic properties. Instead, the agency makes a determination as to the nature of the federal action and whether additional Section 106 requirements might apply. If the agency determines the proposed undertaking does not have the potential to affect historic properties, they have no further obligations under Section 106. Step 2 that is identification. An agency's determination that an undertaking has the potential to affect historic properties. The agency triggers the second phase of the process, identification. At this stage, the agency is responsible for identifying and contacting the consulting parties, determining and defining the project's area of potential effect, which a lot of times you'll see that as APE, and identifying which historic properties located when the APE might be affected. Consulting parties are stakeholders that includes the State Historic Preservation Office or Tribal Historic Preservation Office, and can also include applicants for a relevant license or permit, representatives of local government, affected tribes, or other parties with a demonstrated interest in the undertaking. Agencies identify the area of potential effect in consultation with the State Historic Preservation Office or Tribal Historic Preservation Office. The APE determination may affect the contents of the Section 106 review, since only those properties within that are evaluated for future impacts. After identifying the APE in this stage, the agency then identifies any historic properties within the APE. Those historic properties include those listed on the National Register and also those eligible to be listed. The third step requires the agency to assess whether the project might affect identified historic properties and if any such effects would be adverse in nature. The agency does so in consultation with stakeholders and consulting parties. Adverse effects or alterations to any of the characteristics of a historic property that qualify the property for inclusion in the National Register. The agencies must consider impacts to the integrity of the property's location, design, setting, materials, workmanship, feeling, or association. Both direct and indirect effects of the project must be considered, as well as reasonably foreseeable effects that may occur later, may occur at some distance, or are cumulative. If an agency determines that the potential undertaking may result in adverse effect, they issue a finding of adverse effect and formally notifies the Advisory Council on Historic Preservation, which also you often see as the ACHP. If the agency finds that the undertaking will not adversely affect any of historic properties, it issues a proposed finding of no adverse effect. Regulations require the agency to document its findings to the State Historic Preservation Office or the Tribal Historic Preservation Office, notify all consulting parties, and provide information to the finding of the public on request. In the fourth step, resolution, the agency explores measures to avoid, minimize, or mitigate adverse effects on historic properties. Through this process, agencies work to reach agreement with the consulting parties on measures to address adverse effects. Federal regulations are clear about the process agencies must adhere to under Section 106, but there are a few specific requirements as to what measures may be included in the Memorandum of Agreement. Instead, various solutions are usually available for consideration by consulting parties in the agency, and the ACHP office often encourages creative or innovative mitigation measures. When parties are unable to reach agreement, the alternative is terminating consultation. If any party other than the agency terminates consultation, the agency is authorized to enter into agreement with any remaining parties. If the agency ends the consultation, it must make its determination decision and supporting documents available to the public and consulting parties. The agency also must submit to the ACHP for comment They have 45 days to respond to the decision. The agency is not required to revise its initial decision based on ACHBA comments. Instead, the agency is required to take into account the council's comments in reaching a final decision on the undertaking. Once this documentation is complete, the agency has fulfilled its section 106 requirements. And so that's the 4 steps. And then at any point during this section 106, consulting parties may disagree with an agency's finding or determination. Regulations require the agency to issue formal findings at 2 separate stages. First, findings of no historic properties within a project's area of potential effects, or second, findings of no adverse effect on historic properties. In both cases, regulations provide a process and timeline for how to resolve or document consulting parties' objections to these findings. The state or tribal historic preservation officer must respond within 30 days of receiving an agency finding or determination. If they object to the agency findings within the window, they have 2 options: continue consultation with the SHPO or the Tribal Historic Preservation Office or relevant parties, or 2, submit findings directly to the ACHB for an opinion. And there are a few things about, in this process that are a little counterintuitive, so I wanted to touch on those. The first is the area of potential effect is not the same as the geographic footprint of the project in question. Instead, an appropriate APE reflects the area where a project could affect historic properties, both indirectly and or directly. Although regulations do not define an indirect effect, the criteria for assessing adverse effects include reasonably foreseeable effects caused by the undertaking that may occur later in time, be farther removed in distance, or be cumulative. As a result, an APE may include areas that are not contiguous with the project area. Agencies may define different APEs for different kinds of projects. For an example here, an undertaking proposing demolition of a prominent skyscraper like that on the left may have a different APE than one involving a small cabin due to the differing impact on the surrounding environment and the significance of those properties. And then a property's ability to convey its significance, that is, historic integrity, must be retained for the property to be eligible for the Register of Historic Places. This means the property must overall retain the 7 aspects of historic integrity: materials, design, feeling, location, association, workmanship, setting. Condition, on the other hand, is an assessment of the physical state of the property. This image of the cover of the July 1st edition of the 1961 Saturday Evening Post kind of illustrates this difference. The left half of the duplex is maintained condition. It's freshly painted, everything is maintained. However, when you look closer, the elements that impact integrity have been changed, such as it now has aluminum columns, windows, there's an aluminum store door, and those sort of alterations. The right half of the property is in poor condition. It's unpainted, unkept in a lot of ways. But if you look closer, it retains historic integrity because it still has the historic doors, historic windows, columns, balustrades. So those design and material elements are still in existence there. So even though condition is very different on these two, the property on the right is more likely to be eligible for the National Register because it would retain integrity. And so that concludes kind of the overall summary of what we're doing here today. In this particular case, that triggered this is the existing Willamette National Cemetery. It's located in the Northeast Portland, north of Oregon City. The cemetery was initially authorized by Congress in 1941. The state donated 200 acres to establish the cemetery after World War II. It's been expanded several times and is now over 300 acres. The most recent acquisition was in 2011 to accommodate the growing number of veteran burials. The cemetery was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 2016. There are currently 4 VA national cemeteries in Oregon, all west of the Cascades, and Congress has now authorized construction of a new national cemetery in Oregon. Since the VA is treating this as an expansion of an existing cemetery, the VA is utilizing the existing congressional authorization for the Willamette National Cemetery to complete the required environmental assessment, of which the Section 106 historic and cultural evaluation is a part. The proposed cemetery expansion is located at 3515 Howell Prairie Road, near Salem, Oregon. The land is currently not for sale and is currently zoned for farming. This property is owned by Washington Vineyard Property Management Company, Winemakers Investment Properties LLC. The applicant notes that the Daniel Waldo House was previously determined eligible by the Oregon State Historic Preservation Office for listing in the National Register of Historic Places in 2013, after completion of a historic survey. However, we evaluated the resource under the general National Register criteria and categories for age, significance, and integrity. For integrity, it's one of the oldest remaining houses in Marion County from the early Euro-American settlement period of the 19th century. Although the building is missing the original front porch and the windows and doors are currently boarded, the resource retains substantial integrity despite being in poor condition. Applicable criteria for National Register listing include age, significance, and integrity. I'm going to summarize the criteria one at a time. First, age. The resource is over 50 years of age, therefore staff recommends HLC find this criterion has been met. The Waldo criteria A, events. The Waldo family came to Oregon during the Great Migration in 1843. In 1843, they brought 68 head of cattle to the Oregon Territory. Criterion B, person associated with Daniel and Melinda Waldo. They obtained a donation land claim in the Willamette Valley, and after initially building a temporary log cabin, built a larger cabin in 1844. 10 years later, they built the existing house. Daniel Waldo owned enslaved people before 1830, but after that date no longer held enslaved people, and in fact provided refuge and support for Black pioneers in the territory at a time when Oregon's exclusion laws banned Blacks from residing in the territory. And criteria C, architectural characteristics, Federal Revival with elements of Classical Revival. The 1854 structure is 46 by 19 feet on a masonry foundation with identical red brick chimneys at either end, and is clad in milled wood lumber. It has articulated eaves. The second structure was built after the turn of the century, roughly 1901, and is connected to the earlier structure with a carport on it. The Waldo House is one of the oldest remaining houses in Marion County from the early Euro-American settlement period in the 19th century. Although the building is missing the original front porch and windows and doors are currently boarded up, it retains substantial integrity despite being its condition. It retains the original form, original location. Staff recommends that the HLC find that the resource retains sufficient original integrity to convey its cultural and architectural significance, and that this particular criterion has been met. And then finding of effects. The APE of the proposed cemetery expansion includes the Waldo Family Cemetery, which is proposed to be absorbed into the new cemetery, and the Daniel Waldo House, which is proposed for demolition. Should the HLC concur that the Waldo House is eligible for the National Register, then staff recommends that the HLC find that the demolition of the Waldo House is an adverse effect that requires a mitigation, which would be a concurrence with the VA Preservation Officer's finding of effect in the report. The applicant's consultant evaluated the Willamette Valley Railway resource utilizing the State Historic Preservation Office's 2013 guidance for recording and evaluating linear resources. They considered the resources eligibility under the following general NR eligibility categories. Age, the resource was constructed roughly 1878. Association with criteria A, events. This portion of the railway represents a significant contribution to the broad patterns of local history due to its association with transportation and commerce. This segment of the railroad was chartered by the UP in 1878 as a short line connecting Woodburn, north of the current parcel, to Stayton. The railway was acquired by Southern Pacific. This line was used to transport lumber, plywood, grain, other agricultural products throughout the late 19th and early 20th centuries. In 1993, Southern Pacific leased this line to the Willamette Valley Railway. It continues to operate between Woodburn and Silverton. Historic integrity for this segment of railroad retains its significance. Portion of the line have been replaced over time as part of routine maintenance of the line. However, the replacements utilize in-kind materials and are substantially the same design. Applicable criteria for National Register listing include age, significance, and integrity. I'm going to go through the criteria one at a time. In order to qualify for designation, it needs to meet the applicable criterion of age. The resource is 148 years old. Therefore, staff recommends HLC finds that this criteria has been met. Second criteria A, historical events. This part of the railroad represents a significant contribution to the broad patterns of local history due to its association with transportation and commerce. This segment was chartered by Union Pacific in 1878, connecting Woodburn to Stayton. It was acquired by the Southern Pacific, used to transport lumber, plywood, grain, and other agricultural products in the late 19th, early 20th centuries. In 1993, the Southern Pacific leased this line to the Willamette Valley Railway. It continues to operate between Woodburn and Silverton. Due to this history, we recommend that the HLC find that the potential resource has cultural significance for its association with transport and commerce categories. In integrity, this segment of railroad retains integrity to convey its significance. Portions of the line have been replaced, routine maintenance. However, the replacements utilize in-kind materials and are substantially the same design. The Willamette Valley Railway retains its original form and in its original location. Staff recommends that the HLC find that the resource retains integrity to convey its cultural significance, and this criteria has been met. The Willamette Valley Railway line is also with the APE of the proposed cemetery expansion. However, it runs along the boundary of the proposed cemetery and will not be impacted by the proposal. Should the HLC concur that the Willamette Valley Railroad is eligible for the National Register, then staff recommends that the HLC find that the proposed redevelopment will not have an adverse effect on the railroad, concurring with the VA Preservation Officer's finding of effect. One note is there's another cemetery to the southeast of the proposed development within the APE that was not included in the evaluation. That is the Kinsey Walker Cemetery, but it will not be directly impacted by the redevelopment. And so there are a few alternatives. As consulting parties, you can determine that you want to take no action. The HLC is not required to take any action or make any comment regarding the VA's determination of eligibility. Or the HLC could concur with the VA's determination of eligibility and findings of effect and authorize staff to draft a letter to be sent to the VA Federal Preservation Officer. Or should the HLC not concur or have further questions, the HLC can authorize staff to draft a letter to be sent to the VA Federal Preservation Officer stating that the HLC does not concur. And that concludes the prepared presentation.
Right, thank you, and I just want to make a note that Commissioner Oakland joined us at 5:41. That's quite all right. So are there any questions? I think the ask of us is really around, I have a couple of questions, but the ask of us is really to really amongst ourselves if we want to take some type of action with this, then identified as a consulting party. And that was one of my questions is, do we know why? As a city, since this is several miles outside of the city boundary. But is it typical, I guess, or is this?
Yeah, it's because we are the closest certified local government.
Okay, okay, so it's our sort of
With an active-
government
Yeah,
status.
HLC.
Okay, so that explains that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should probably recuse myself from this, I've been doing this in my other role as a consulting party.
Yep,
So
sure, yep, thank you.
For the state historic
For the state
preservation
historic
office, for the
preservation.
record.
Yes, yes.
We all know that.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes. Okay, are there any questions? Yeah, you'll wanna.
Go get
Probably.
some snacks.
Can I leave?
Yeah. Do not leave.
Wander around, like, stay within eyesight, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
The only action that I saw in the whole section 106 review. Was demolition of this resource. And they did not propose any other alternative actions. And I guess at this point, they're not even discussing what mitigations might be appropriate.
And that would be the next step. I'm sure you all remember the. Yeah, so that they would come back, provided we move forward and have to consult about the level.
Under federal regulations, is demolition considered something, an action that can be mitigated? Because I know in some states and in some jurisdictions, it's considered something that cannot be mitigated, and therefore under their authority on environmental review, they have to have overriding considerations to demolish something like this.
I can't, I don't know if you can, Jake, I can't speak to the federal regulations, I can speak to our local interpretation of that, and so. In Salem Revised Code, I think I did the short staff report, we do have a section on public mitigation for demolition. And so there are, it's considered a level 3 adverse effect, and we have certain recommended mitigation items to be considered. But that's, again, it's a baseline and yeah, you know, definitely.
Oh, no, I was.
Well, along that line, it kind of baffles me that relocation of this structure is not even considered or proposed as an action or as a mitigation, or is that something that the federal government might come to as a potential mitigation?
I don't know if the federal government will come to it, but it's certainly something the Landmarks Commission, if you would like us to draft a letter stating that that should be considered. That's something definitely we can do.
Okay, well, that's kind of the direction that, that I'm going, is that this, clearly, this resource is eligible for the National Register under 3 criteria. 3 different criteria, and relocating this resource would damage its setting and, its original setting, and probably its National Register eligibility. But there are National Register properties that have been relocated.
Jason.
Yes,
For
exactly.
example.
I can think of president's houses and, things like, there are a number of resources that have been relocated. And, it just seems to me that should have been discussed in some way in this review. The other thing I would like to just say for the record on this 106 review, I found that it did not have nearly as much information about this resource as our staff report does. And there was not a description, a full description of this resource and its style and there was, the history of the site and the family and that sort of thing, but it, the documentation at the stage of the section 106 review, it didn't show the historic pictures of the house and, I just found that it, treated it like a shard found in the yard. It was not, like the surface level, reconnaissance survey that was done. It was very sketchy, but I would like to thank our staff for filling in the information on this property.
Commissioner Kirkman?
Yeah, I think. I like the idea, I like the alternatives analysis, that would help, the action of moving it is an adverse effect, but it's not necessarily ruining all integrity, so part of the mitigation could be relocation. And then as far as the research side, I know in some cases, if you find a property has enough to be eligible, then that's kind of where you stop until you have the full go ahead to do like a big long or determination of eligibility report. So I don't know if maybe that's why it's lacking, and if that's gonna be part of the mitigation, is doing a full in-depth research on it. Also, my biggest question is, do we have any evidence that we're not having adverse impacts to other resources on the property? Has there been any archaeology done?
Yes, so there was an archaeological survey done as part of, but they didn't redact anything, so I didn't forward it, but I can send it to you. And actually, what I'm gonna be doing is bringing it to tribal roundtable. So we can discuss it.
Was there anything present or was it all absent?
There was some, without getting too much into it, that there were some.
So, that would be. Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
I wanted to bring it up because that's,
There are considerations.
yeah,
Yes.
and
Absolutely.
then it gets very tricky when you're trying to mitigate for multiple different instances in time.
And I will say, sorry for jumping in, that my bigger concern is that within the AP at least, and Jake mentioned this, there is another cemetery
Yeah,
that was not even evaluated.
Yeah.
They didn't really it wasn't two actually,
It'll be absorbed, is what.
but they should still evaluate it. I mean, because what if it's not just, well,
So I mean, the
furniture.
purpose of this point right now is just to see if we want to do anything about the determination of
Correct.
the house.
Correct.
So, obviously, there's lots of more steps they need to do and more work to be done.
I have one quick question. The APE, there was a 1 kilometer buffer around it, so is that actually the APE? Is that plus the buffer?
That's a good
I was
question.
a little confused by
I
that.
wish that Robert could answer questions as a professional expert. I don't know with your other hat.
I mean, it might not matter, I was just
Are
like,
you
a
allowed to know?
little confused. Anyways,
I don't know, that's a good question.
Okay.
I'll write it.
okay, Commissioner Strong.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing, right, that's what they're building with the SHPO about is the AP itself.
Right.
Where is it, how far is it extent?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that answered one of my questions.
Okay.
And I guess that my second question is simply, what kind of feedback are we being asked to offer? We can concur or we can say,
Yeah, like Jake put up on the screen, yeah, so you could do
Yeah.
nothing, you could decide. We're not gonna do anything.
we don't want to touch it, or we can
Right.
say. we
Or
think
you could say, or like, you could concur with the federal preservation officers. Determination of eligibility and findings of effect, so it's those two things.
Right.
Or you could be like, there's that third option. where it's, you can direct staff to write a letter with your comments and just not weigh in, not say that you concur, not maybe if you have too many questions. I mean, that's a path as well.
Okay,
It's different because you guys, you aren't a regulatory authority here.
right.
You're just providing comments. But I mean, those comments carry weight.
Right.
So-
Well, that's kind of what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the kind of commentary that we can give back could include that they need to do a heck of a lot better job of reconnaissance. And and just, and the commentary of the value of this as a historic resource to this local region, right? I mean, it's relevant to us because it's
Yeah.
historic to Salem. And then as far as the options for mitigation, that would be up to, it looks like the VA Federal Preservation Office would then offer suggestions for mitigation.
Well,
Or
as
do
I
they want
understand
us
it,
to-
yeah, they'll come back, so typically, you know, they consult with the SHPO and ideally with the tribes directly to develop a mitigation plan commensurate with the level of effects, and then as one of the consulting parties, we would be invited to comment on that, similar to how you're being invited to comment on this.
Okay, so I'm just wondering what kind of detail do we say, hey, you know, have you thought about moving it, or do we just?
Yeah, I think
Bounce
that's a
back?
good time to put that kind of.
Sure.
Was also gonna ask, so. Rather than trying to use the word concur or anything, write a letter in support. And then are they also asking if we want to be involved in this process? Is this part of like the invitation or? is it
Yeah,
consulting
if they use
party?
the word invitation.
Okay, so we'll well, I should say, yeah, we can include that if we do want to be.
It sounded like just from the conversation that we're interested in responding to this.
Yes.
And maybe the language around, yeah, is it occurring, is it drafting a letter with comments, and I'm not.
Do we wanna offer opinions?
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
That
We wouldn't be here, so
was wrong of an opinion, anyway.
your motion.
So I think what would be most helpful for staff? Would-
So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so right now, in their letter, here's what they're, exactly what they're requesting. Now, they're not saying it's only limited to that, you can also add additional comments. The meat and potatoes, so to speak, is. The VA requests your reviewing of and concurrence with the finding, which, you know, we summarize the finding that. There was just, you know, historic properties and this, those were eligible properties, that there would be an adverse effect. VA plans to resolve the adverse effect through development of mitigation and memorandum of agreement. So that would be what you would be concurring with. And if you have additional comments, specifically what you would want included in those is in addition to that concurrence, unless you don't think there's an adverse effect. You can say that as well.
Is there a plan that has been developed for this expansion? So,
Oh. I assume so, but it wasn't submitted to us.
you know, and it will have drives and the way that it's gonna be.
I
Okay.
think that right now, as I understand it, the undertaking is the acquisition of the property. And that means that to buy it for this use, and so I don't. know, I mean, they know enough that they see that house and like,
Yeah, it's going from a private property to a federal property, and that's where the section 06 trigger is into.
Yeah.
And I think the concurring or not concurring with the demolition, it's like, okay, yeah, it's gonna have an adverse effect. But I do like the idea of maybe like thought of other alternatives too, and not that I think, I honestly cannot think of an alternative I guess let's do nothing alternative, but
All
an
right,
alternative that wouldn't have some sort of an adverse effect, but it's
the level of.
yeah, the level of your mitigation.
When I first read this, my very first thought was, why don't they rehabilitate the house,
Yeah.
use it as part of their cemetery?
That's,
It would be.
that's,
The
that's
best outcome.
to do. Yeah, I guess they're gonna need a building, they're
Yeah.
gonna need restrooms, they're gonna need a structure of some kind, why not use this one?
It's almost like there are levels of what could be done. It could be saved in place and rehabilitated and utilized. Or it could be relocated on the site,
Yeah.
and, you know, utilized elsewhere or even made into an out parcel that someone else could, you know, restore it. Or it could be moved off-site and rehabilitated. So it's like there are steps or levels of what could be done with this resource instead of just tearing it down.
So, I'm trying to think as far as our time tonight, so do we want to? Do you want us to provide comments back, like individually, or as a commission, or what, I'm trying to figure out.
So the,
what-
probably the most useful, as Jake mentioned, is for you guys to decide whether or not you have enough consensus. You can discuss this a bit more to officially vote on whether you concur or not. And when we say that. if that helps
Concur
you,
with
like,
the findings.
Well, so there's two pieces.
determination of
determination of
eligibility,
eligibility for the
findings.
two resources.
Right.
And the two different findings of effect, so there's one adverse effect and one.
Non-adverse,
Yeah,
one adverse to the house itself, one
Right.
non-adverse to the railroad.
right, and if you are like, yeah, I'm fine with that, or not fine with it, but you agree.
Right.
Then if you all can just discuss whether that is something you want staff to put in a letter to respond to the federal preservation officer, and then you can also direct staff to compile your specific comments and
Okay.
include those.
How long do we have to respond?
I just in my brain have 30 days because it's 30 days from the letter date, which was March 2nd, so not a whole lot of time.
Okay.
April 2nd,
Could I just make a?
so I'm going with this.
Yes, go for it.
I'd like to make a motion on this, that we write a letter of concurrence on their findings. On both of the resources that they are eligible. On their eligibility and on the impact.
So there's two pieces, the
Right.
determination of eligibility,
The-
should we concur with that?
We would concur, and we concur that there is adverse effect on the Waldo House. And that there is not an adverse effect on the railroad. But further, we would like to remain a consulting party on the project or the effort.
The review of
Undertaking, the undertaking.
and then review of the mitigation.
Yeah, and we would like to recommend
Right.
additional, we would like to submit additional comments on mitigations instead of demolition of the structure. I mean, I don't know how to.
Right.
I think you got it,
Yeah,
you got it. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, great. Have a motion and a second, so just to review really quick. Would be to concur with the determination of eligibility for the house and also the railroad line. And then also a concurrence with the findings of effect, which would be an adverse effect on the house and a non-adverse effect on the road. And then we provide additional comments regarding the consulting party and mitigation. Consultation. Is there discussion? Yes.
Yeah. Do we wanna add anything about alternatives analysis?
I say we add everything I
Yeah,
can
okay.
think of, honestly.
All right, and then, all right, I'll add to my motion.
You don't need to add to it. You-
No.
It's just discussion.
Okay, that's seconded yet.
Yeah, yeah, Commissioner Strauss.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So we're in
but we-
deliberation here.
We would like to recommend mitigations and alternatives
Yeah.
to demolitions.
So adaptive reuse, I heard you say relocation.
Relocation on site or relocation off site.
Can we? I was not seeing anything about the structural condition of the building. Is that something we could
Yeah.
request?
Uh-huh.
Because that would be helpful also to know that it's even possible to move it, or if they, saving it, if it would be essentially rebuilt.
That would be part of the, into its further investigation. Yeah, as far as I could tell, they only did a reconnaissance level survey, so they basically just went, stood outside and took a picture. Didn't do much more than
Like, it's all boarded up anyway, so.
yeah, I've actually been in that house. Back in probably 2011. When Restore Oregon got involved, Historic Preservation League Oregon at the time got involved to stabilize the structure. And so a lot of that plywood covering is all Restore Oregon's work to stabilize it. I think the other thing, and it might be in the full report, but the Waldo Family Cemetery. I don't know if the Oregon Black Pioneers are a consulting party. I don't know if we can suggest that. But I know that, okay, because I know they have a keen interest in there because it's likely there's probably a burial of a Black person on the property.
Yeah.
And probably one of the first in Oregon there. Yeah, this is a significant site. Relatively, I would say, unknown to the general public, but there were some fairly significant events that happened there. There was a murder that happened there that was very significant that resulted in the hanging of a Black person. There were some other interracial marriages that happened in that area. It's a lot more than just an old house, for sure. Yeah, so any other discussion?
Well, one other thing, I just want to point out the obvious thing that Arlington National Cemetery is on a Custis family, and Robert E. Lee, but a Custis family property. And when that cemetery was established, they did not tear down the Custis house or mansion that was on the property. They kept it there, so
There's precedent.
there's precedent for keeping the house.
All right, I'm gonna call for the vote. Is everyone clear though on the motion? Voting on? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. All right. Motion passes.
Can I ask a follow-up just for how to deal with this? So if, so I'm asking Jake and our admin as well. So if our date is to send this letter out by the 2nd of April. And are you able to get comments to Jake a week from today? And then Jake, if you can compile everything together, and I guess. Do you all want to read the letter before it goes out?
I would like to.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, maybe you can send it around.
Letting you guys do it.
Okay, well, we'll just
I
send
mean, you're
it,
the experts.
we'll send.
You're an expert.
When do you need our comments?
It needs to be dated and out,
And
so it doesn't need to
okay.
reach them,
So
so I
we can
think
have
that,
it finalized by the
yeah, if.
first or.
You just, sorry,
So you need our comments to you by
a week from today, so that
26th of March.
26th of March.
That'll allow you a few days to draft.
And then that way, so, and then Michelle. If you're, and Jake, if you're able to send for review by Monday, the 30th. And then that gives us a comfortable. Then you need to look at it and turn around any weeks by the next day, the 31st, so that.
Yeah.
Michelle can get it out. Is that okay?
I do want to comment that it's already 6:20, so.
Okay.
Okay, so comments due March, week today, 26th to Jake and Michelle. And send the letter back out to whoever. All right,
And if somebody doesn't want to submit comments, if you don't mind sending it to me, so.
Be waiting.
be waiting, let you know regardless.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
How difficult was that, Robert, to sit through?
Come on back, Rob, listen to us.
You have all the answers.
All right, we'll move on to information reports. And. Okay, all right. And so the first thing we're going to do is a training. And the training is really to get us kind of used to the hearings process. I know most of us have been through this before, but we do have you know, Commissioner Cornetti on, and I know others that are not here, so you're gonna get a lot of benefit. For you. But it's a good refresher for the rest of us too, so so Jake and Kim developed a little mock hearing for us to go.
So while Jake is helping me get that sorted out, I guess there are some of you who have been on the commission for a while, so you're quite familiar with, looking at Connie, quite familiar with how a land use hearing goes, but some of you have not, and some of you, it's been a while. So tonight, it's a pretty, I hope, simple, quick case. However, we're going to try to push the limits so you guys can test your muscle memory, I guess it is, and also give you guys an opportunity to learn if you haven't done this before. So we've got a couple, like, so Jessica's agreed to play a role. Jake is going to play a role, and I have one of my student interns who's gonna call in to play a role. And I just wanna, before I get into this, I just wanna make sure that if you have questions as we're going through this, because this is a training, feel free to stop, let Karen know you have a question. Because this is the time for us to really
Ask questions.
ask questions.
Yeah, I have a question before we even start.
Oh, good.
Should we wait and do this when we have all of the new people?
Nope. We're gonna put training on every agenda as we have time.
Yeah.
And we're gonna make sure that, like, for example, Matthew, we're gonna schedule some one-on-one time with him.
Okay,
So,
'cause we do have we're gonna heard about this.
I know, Connie, it's okay.
All right.
It's all right, it's all right.
I've been waiting a
All
I know
right,
you wanna talk about window workshop, is that correct?
Well, I've been waiting 2 weeks, yes, so I need.
We will talk, don't worry.
we'll get there.
Is there a way to make that guy go? I don't know where to put that guy go, or you just leave it up there?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm annoying. Oh, I was like, huh. All right, so.
Oh, wait.
You gotta do your thing.
I'm going to specify that this is a training for the record.
I was just gonna,
This
I'm
is
like,
not
no.
real. Okay. I always forget if I do the gavel before or after. I'm just gonna do it now. I'm opening the public hearing for historic review case, whatever the number is for this.
It's HIS 26
There it is.
PRNG.
Training, yep.
Yep.
I'm gonna call for staff to read, or will the recorder please read the hearing procedure statement into the record? See, this is good for me too.
The process for the public hearing will begin with the staff presentation, followed by the applicant's case presentation, limited to a total of 15 minutes. Neighborhood organization comments, limited to a total of 10 minutes. Testimony of persons either in favor or opposition, limited to 5 minutes each, discretionary. And a rebuttal opportunity for the applicant, limited to 5 minutes, should opposition be raised. The public testimony portion will then be closed and commission deliberation follows. The applicant has the burden of proof to show that the approval criteria can be satisfied by the facts. Opponents may rebut the applicant's testimony by showing alternative facts or by showing that the evidence submitted does not satisfy the approval criteria. Any participant may request that the hearing be continued or that the record be left open for submission of additional evidence or testimony. The commission may continue the hearing to another date and time or leave the record open to receive additional evidence or written testimony. Historic Landmarks Commission decisions are based on the criteria contained in the Salem Revised Code SRC Chapter 230. Applications may be approved, conditionally approved, or denied based on conformity with the applicable criteria. Conditions of approval, if any, shall be limited to project modifications required to enable the project to better meet the intent of the design guidelines or standards. All issues must be raised at the hearing. Failure to raise an issue accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to afford the parties an opportunity to respond to the issue precludes an appeal to the Land Use Board of Appeals on that issue. A similar failure to raise constitutional issues relating to any proposed conditions of approval precludes an action for damages in circuit court.
All right, are there any conflicts of interest or ex parte contacts that any commissioner would like to declare at this time? Mr. Kerwin.
As Commissioner Weathers. Yeah, as Commissioner Weathers,
Yeah, you're channeling.
yeah,
Need some traffic.
yeah, stating for the record that I'm an investor and I will likely earn a profit from this. Because more people would come to the property that I'm an investor of, and so I'm recusing myself from discussion.
Okay. That's a human piece.
That's exactly.
Anyone else? Okay, may we now have the staff presentation?
Thank you. Kimberly Fitzgerald, Historic Preservation Program Manager for the City of Salem. I'd like to enter the staff report, its attachments, and all public testimony into the record. This case is to review a proposal to install a new mural on the exterior of the non-historic, non-contributing building located at 456 State Street in our downtown historic district. And basically, forward. For those of you, most of you are probably familiar with our downtown. It is located on the south side of State Street between Liberty and High. A little bit about the history. So prior to the construction of the building that's there now, which was completed in 1966, this block was initially developed and used by Salem's Chinese community. So it was part of what was Salem's Chinatown, which I think is very cool. And you can kind of see it's really small, but it does say on the building footprints on the Sanborn Fire Insurance map there from 1890, Chinese. And there, if you've ever been into Fort 40 in the back by the bathrooms, we did some excavations prior to COVID, and there were some artifacts that were uncovered and are displayed by the bathroom. There's a picture on the right hand of your screen of the building that was demolished in 1965. So that one fronted the alley. You can see it was a storefront. It was used for a time by the Hogg brothers as an electrical appliance store and also a clothing store. So here's a rendering of the building before it was constructed and a picture from the newspaper from 1966 when the insurance company, Union Title Insurance, first moved in. So this was a pretty innovative building for the time. At the time, and I guess I did not know this, the building itself has underground parking other than the parking garage that was built for the hotel. This was the first building that was constructed that included parking underground. Union Title also worked with PGE to bury all the electrical underground. So that was also innovative for its time. And apparently they also had fancy push button phones, which was fancy for the time. So this, again, this is non-historic, non-contributing to the downtown historic district. Again, because the period of significance for the downtown historic district, it ends in 1950. So that's the reason. Now I'm going to go through what the proposal is. So the applicant, he's an artist, Dan Cohen. who, I'll show you a picture of him here in a minute. He actually restored the Mattingly mural that's currently on the back of the Elsinore Theater. He's gotten permission from the Mattingly family to use the Mattingly piece of art and the permission of the owner to paint it on the side of this building. The painting is called Fish Allegory 1. And the location for the painting, if you can see my cursor here, is right here on the brick on the secondary facade fronting the alley. Again, here's a picture of the fish allegory and a self-portrait of James Mattingly, who passed away in 2006. And a picture of the muralist, Dan Cohen. And again, he restored the Mattingly Elsinore mural on the back of the Elsinore. And then there's just a picture of a mosaic salmon, if you haven't seen it, done by another local artist. I think that the Salem Art Association is very supportive of the use of the fish as it's a connection to the Willamette Valley and the indigenous history. So I'm going to go through the criteria, which are found in Salem Revised Code 230.055, murals in commercial historic districts. So standard A, retain historic murals, doesn't apply because there are no existing historic murals on the resource. Criteria B, murals shall only be located on the side or rear of buildings. So this proposed mural will be painted on the secondary facade, western side of the resource. Criteria C, murals shall not be located on primary facades or secondary facades that face the right of way. And again, the mural is proposed for a secondary facade and it does not front the right of way, which in this particular case is State Street. And D, murals shall only be located on non-historic, non-contributing buildings. And this is, as I explained before, non-historic, non-contributing resource. We received quite a bit of written testimony, a letter of support from surrounding property owners and the Mattingly family. And one public comment in opposition has been received by Mr. Jacob Morrison. We received a letter of support from Can Do. We did receive some planning division comments relating to the compliance with Salem Revised Code and murals. And then organization and agency comments. We did also receive in support from the Confederate Tribes of the Grand Ronde, Hallie Ford, Salem Art Association, and the Public Art Commission. So based upon the information presented in the application, the plan submitted for review and the findings as presented in the staff report, staff recommends the Landmarks Commission approve the proposal. That concludes the staff report.
All right, thank you. Do any of the commissioners have questions for staff?
We did it.
I don't know, straightforward presentation. Wow. It was so complete. So if there are no questions, then I'll note that there's no questions.
Okay.
And then I'll move on to the next here, which is applicants.
He's not here.
Testimony. So I would call for the applicant's testimony, and they have 15 minutes to provide testimony. And then we would go through the same process. Could ask questions of the applicant. I think the main takeaway with asking questions is to stay on topic. It can be really easy to veer, but it's really staying within what are we actually evaluating the application against. So like in this case, it's the mural. We've got, what is it, four criteria.
You want me to put it back?
No, it's okay. But as far as like the, you know, why are you doing this, or what inspired the fit, it doesn't matter. It's really about placement, the right of way, that kind of stuff. So, and it keeps things short to that way, but it is really easy to get sidetracked. So, then I would ask for neighborhood association representative testimony. I don't think there's anybody here.
But they did submit a letter.
They did submit a letter of
Yeah.
support, and they get 10 minutes. So I'll say, seeing none, I will now call for other testimony.
Now there's
Okay.
people here.
Now there's people here, so I have on the sign up sheet, I have a J. Morrison here. And so,
We also
yeah,
have someone on Zoom.
yeah, so Mr. Morrison, come on up. Please state your name and address for the record. Please note that you have, your testimony is limited to 5 minutes.
Hello, my name is Jacob Morrison. I live at 1212 19th Street in Salem. And I have some serious objections to this. I looked on the internet and I saw that the National Park Service has something called the Secretary of Interior Standards. And it says, do not paint brick in a lot of places, many places, do not paint brick because you can't unpaint brick. And you will ruin the brick, it'll ruin the building. Do I have more time?
Yeah,
The building is over 50 years old, so it's clearly a historic building, so I don't know where this non-contributing is coming from. And alleyways are right of ways, it even has the word way in it, so I think that we should not do this because we can always do it later if for some reason, I don't know what. People would want to do this in the future, I mean, you know, you can paint a fish on a wall at any time, but I don't know why we would want to do that to this historic modernist landmark. Is clearly a great building. And that's all I have to say. I just, if you want to go against the Secretary of Interior standards in the United States of America, then go ahead and do that. Thank you for your time.
Think about it. Yeah.
Oh, you can also have people ask.
Yeah, so normally I'd say, you know, thank you for your testimony. Stay here, come on back. We might have
I'm
some
on back.
questions for you, or are there any questions for Mr. Morris? Come on, somebody's gotta ask me. Sorry. What, yeah,
Mr. Morrison,
Why do you hate
which one of the Secretary of Interior standards are you referring to?
The one of the 10 ones, you know, there are 10 of them. Not altering, there's one about not altering materials. And so that's the one, but there are many. And when you look, there are a lot of treatments and a lot of them say do not paint the brick because it ruins the brick.
all right, any other questions? All right, thank you very much for your testimony. I think we have one person online here.
Yeah.
I don't know.
David.
Dave?
Oh, I'm sorry, Clark Kent, sorry.
Clark Kent, Mr. Kent. You have 5 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Clark
Oh, we
Kent.
can't unmute Dave. Mr. Kent.
He is unmuted.
We are not.
This is
hearing
good progress, it's good
I'd
progress.
like
Oh,
the
yes.
record to show that I
you.
was
We
unmuted.
can't hear it.
Oh, no.
Sometimes leaving and coming back in.
Our audio, turn our audio.
Oh, we can't hear.
We can't hear.
We can't hear.
We can't hear. Hold on, Mr. Kent. See what we can find out.
So I can hear him on Zoom.
Yeah.
or
How come
on
we
Face-
can't?
on
Oh, because you muted.
YouTube.
You muted
Yeah.
us.
I'm not muted.
Well, so we don't get echo.
Or the,
Yeah, the echo did, is it that?
We'll mute the room, but then turn up your volume. In the meeting.
So mute you.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me? Okay, good. I can't hear you, so I'm just gonna talk. And you guys can like hold up a hand when you want me to stop or something.
Oh, I hear.
Okay. My name is Clark Kent. I am a reporter with the Statesman Planet. My address is 1460 20th Street, Southeast Salem, 97302. And I just want to say that I am in favor of both murals and fish. And I'm not overly bothered about the Secretary of Interior standards. So I think this mural should go through.
That's
Okay.
exciting.
Can you hear us now? You can nod. You can hear us, nod.
There we go, you can hear us.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Are there any questions for Mr. Kent?
Oh, dear.
All right, I'm not seeing any, so thank you for your time, for your testimony, you supported fish. Yeah.
Good job.
Let's see, is there anyone else who would like to testify that did not sign up? Meeting, I see none. And then we would call for applicant rebuttal, but they're not here, so sorry. And then we would go into additional questions for staff. Are there any additional questions? We didn't have any additional questions. Are there questions that have come up in the last 5 minutes? Just anchor into those. Seeing none, so I will now close the public hearing. No additional testimony will be accepted at this time without formally reopening the hearing. And now I will call for a motion.
Oh, that's Juliana's job. I forgot to tell you about that job.
Oh, yes. As the interim co-chair.
Yes,
Yes.
we get to my recommendation. I move that the Historic Landmarks Commission approve the proposal as submitted by the applicant and as indicated in the drawings.
We have a motion on the table. Is there a second?
I'd like to second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? And I would say to your motion,
Well, I don't believe that we need to add any additional conditions on this project. It seems well within the bounds of previous mural projects. It meets all of our guidelines. And I believe that we can approve it as it's been submitted.
Is there any other discussion?
I like murals. I like murals downtown. I
Would you like
appreciate
to-
that SPAC has approved this one.
I
love fish.
It's-
Right away.
Oh, alleys. Oh, yeah,
But wait,
we're outside of the public hearing.
yeah, that's pretty.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Gosh, you know what? I really have a question about alleys and alleyways, because I remember Mr. Morrison said something about there a way, like a right of way, maybe the same thing. And I really want to ask that question of staff. So I think it's so relevant to my decision-making process. So I would like to reopen the public hearing. How do we actually do that? now? Do we have to take a vote to reopen it?
I move that we reopen the public
Okay.
hearing to entertain an answer to this question.
Oh, I'll second that.
Great, we have a motion
I
and
wanna
a
know if
second
fish have the right.
to reopen the public
Yeah.
hearing. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all those opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. The public hearing's reopened.
What's the question?
The question's about right of way or alleyways. Is an alleyway or right of way?
I have an answer for you.
Oh, thanks.
So in Salem Revised Code, SRC 86, city right of way is defined as an area that allows for the passage of people and vehicles for public use. It does not mention fish and under control of the city. The term right of way includes streets, bike paths, and walkways, but specifically excludes alleys.
Oh, right. That was crucial evidence.
There you go. Sorry.
Can I ask you?
Yes, sure. Yes, yes.
Do we know what kind of fish that is?
It's a salmon.
Okay, I'm just making sure,
Salmon.
and that is appropriate for the Willamette River, okay.
Yeah, now that doesn't really matter, but you know, yeah,
It's my decision making.
yeah, it wasn't as good as my question.
Shroud.
Yeah.
Then you would have been like.
Yes.
We close the public
Now,
hearing.
here's the question, I didn't actually we didn't vote on closing the public hearing before. But should we have?
Oh, see, that's where,
Because my
Yeah,
notes just said close it, so I did, but. don't we
yeah, I
vote on
mean, yes,
it?
you do
Yep,
need to vote on it,
vote on
but you just don't go willy-nilly as
But I
the
can't-
chair,
I
it's
can't
like,
just
I'm
back
closing
down.
it, I hate it, yeah, you gotta have,
So yeah, so I missed that, so there we go, I'm
add that note to your notes.
gonna annotate it.
Yeah,
So,
and.
okay, do I have a motion, is there,
I move that we close the public hearing.
Yes.
great, is there a second?
I think.
Awesome, any discussion, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, we're closing the public hearing again, okay, now we're back to. I
You can
think
keep the
we're
original.
keeping the original motion, so we have a motion and a second on the table, we had some deliberations, there's further deliberation,
I have a question.
okay?
I don't
Better
So
not
we-
for staff.
I don't remember what the findings were on there, but like if we were, if there was a thing about like, hey, here's a better preferred alternative of like attaching a mural to a building to save the brick for this, whatever, or something like that. Does that, would that play into, I don't remember what
You
the
would-
box is of non-contributing and what we allow.
So you could ask that question during the public hearing of staff.
You gotta open.
No, yeah, I don't wanna do
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
that's just not the outside.
No, that's a
Yeah.
good question.
But yeah, we could, so during the public hearing, you can ask that question of staff, you can bring it up, I mean, honestly, you can bring it up right now during deliberation.
You could add a
Yeah.
condition,
We
you
can-
can add a
right.
condition that it not be painted directly on the brick, that's how you would handle it
You
now.
can do it on either.
You can, and so if you want kind of information about it, it would be during the hearing, if you just wanna say like, I think this is the right thing, we're gonna do it right now, regardless of what staff thinks.
Right.
Or if it meets the criteria,
Yeah.
then we could condition the.
But then we would have to deal with the motion on the floor, which is
So you
just approval as shown.
So you could you could amend the motion.
Yeah.
You could do a substitute motion, so like Robert could do a substitute motion, and then we vote on that. You could amend your motion if you wanted to.
It might be simpler, like if you wanna add a condition, amend the original motion and to add a condition.
Got it.
But it has to be, right, so sorry, but it has to be tied to a specific criteria
Right,
to better meet the criteria. And so in this case, you know, I would tell you that it would have to, it could apply to the secondary facade that in order to ensure that it's not adversely affected.
cause in this case, none of those talk about
No,
actual
they don't.
application, right, so it would
No.
be, yeah. So would that be
It-
outside?
It would be a little loosey goosey,
Yeah,
so if
unless you
the,
can find-
if the owner was really upset about it, he'd be like,
Yeah.
He could appeal, but we could do our best, staff usually, it's very crafty and
Mhm.
trying to write findings that help achieve what you want. Yeah,
Yep.
that's a good
Yep.
question.
All right, I will now call for a vote. All those in favor of the motion, I'm not gonna restate it, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Motion
Yay.
passes.
And honestly, you know, we've had it happen several times in the past where the applicant hasn't come to a hearing. And then there's conditions like that and then they're cranky about it, but it's like, well, that's why you come. So you can express your dismay or answer questions, but yeah.
About your through this.
Yeah, precisely, yeah. Yeah, they can, well, anyway, they can complain, but it's better if they come. Anyway, so, and I think I mentioned this before, our hope is to do a little bit of training, depending on the length of the agenda every time, so. You know, everything's fresh.
Yeah, there's a long time ago, I was introduced to the concept of just-in-time training. And
Right before you.
right, I mean, and sometimes that works, especially if it's something unique or you're not gonna see it very often, just to provide that training kind of on the spot. So you're ready to go into it. I like the idea of having training.
So please let us know if there's something that you just wanna know more about.
Jake's acting skills.
Isn't he great?
Yeah, it was
Good
great.
job, Jake.
I liked it.
I don't know.
And that was my intern, by the way, it's.
Yeah, or you left, yeah,
He
good
left,
job.
he did.
We're cutting into the sky.
I know.
Oh.
I think one thing for training would be like a case for psychology,
It's a good idea.
you know, so, cause I feel like that's code that we don't really get into.
Yep. Okay, cool.
Joe, comments?
Two things. One thing is silly. Charles's fake email, letter is very good.
I worked really hard on it. Yeah.
You wrote that one.
I wrote all the fake letters down.
The second thing is just for my own clarification, it's a simple majority. As we.
Yes.
As we.
Correct.
Yes.
So if one person said nay, then.
Yeah, you could have gotten into it, like,
Oh,
you could have been like, oh no, I hate, like, you could have.
Well, and it's okay if there's split.
You could, what would happen if you would have a tie? There's
Then rock, paper,
So, yeah, tie goes to, I don't think it passes in a tie
Mm.
situation. I'm trying to remember my city council days, but I believe if the vote is tied, the vote fails.
And then if we really wanna get into it, another training could be when someone from the neighborhood association or whatever requests that the record be held open, and then that
Yeah.
is a whole, like, complicate that problem.
And that's right, and then there's different levels, sometimes there's the record open, or just the written record.
Or the
Or
hearing.
there's a
continued.
continuance, a hearing continuance.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a number of things.
Yeah.
But overall, I think the city, it's, what is it, 180 days to make it.
Yeah, or we have to get an
We're legally
extension.
mandated to.
Yeah,
make a
we get an
decision.
extension.
Yeah.
One good training might be simply, we're gonna make you guys do a pretend motion and then amend it like 400 times.
which day is that one?
Can't cover that one. The other quick thing I'll say before we move on, I always have to remember that we're making a decision on behalf of the city. And I think that, I don't remember all of our decisions, if they're all appealable to council or not.
So new construction and demolition are appealable to council. The rest go to hearings officer.
We go to the hearings officer. So our job really is making sure that our decision is something that is defensible by the city. Because it's possible, not common, it's possible it could end up at the land use board of appeals. And if it gets there, the city is on the hook for paying for the costs if we lose that case.
Yeah.
So anyways, okay, let's move on. Work plan assignments. I think last meeting, I was not at it, but I think there was some people assigned to each of our work plan items here. So we had the photo contest. I know we had a long conversation in January about the photo contest, but we've got Richard Ingman, Cornetti do the photo contest.
It's launched.
It isn't launched?
Yeah.
On the
Okay.
way here, I saw someone downtown with an actual camera that is nice. And it was focused on
I
one of
love
the
it.
buildings in town. And I almost want to like roll down my window and.
This is our photo party.
Did you know?
So big that.
And are they gonna be displayed at, they're gonna be displayed at Atlanta Heritage Center? That's very cool. Very good. And advertised on the City of Salem social stuff.
Yep.
Okay, great. We're also doing awards, Historic Preservation Month public outreach, so I am going to be doing a tour late mid-May of gonna be a crime tour downtown.
Oh my gosh.
That I need to put together still, and it'll be in the evening. A costume? Man, I should. That's a good idea. That's
A big hat.
a big hat. Yes, people can follow me around. So,
Okay.
yeah, I don't know exactly the stories yet, but it'll be fun. It'll be in the evening. I think, are we? I can't
May
remember.
30th.
May 30th, thank you.
I wrote that down. Person's doing hers on the 14th.
Yeah, and then, right, Kristen's doing a tour too. I think she's doing a kind of architectural tour of downtown.
And we're gonna need pictures so we can.
Yes, I have it on my to-do list,
But we have a little time,
but not of me, of the tour.
but we can do both. You have to wear your costume in the picture.
Well, I don't have my costume.
Okay,
I can't remember, are we asking people to register?
I think we would, yeah, that's part of what we want, so
Yeah.
you have an idea as to how many.
Yeah.
people come.
I might be consulting people for, honestly, actually, if you do have suggestions for, okay, I'm gonna write that down.
kind of recognized as Oregon's first serial killer and he lived in St.
Oh.
What?
Because there's a Jerome Brutus. And the my old Byron Frank building, car park. Anyways.
Yeah.
Okay.
And in the podcast, I was, oh no, never mind, that was my.
Yeah, if you've got,
Hillsborough.
if you have ideas, let me know, so. Let's see, we're also doing, more public education, a forum on disaster resiliency. Charles and Matt and Connie.
Yes, and Ross was here last night.
Okay.
Is that right? Is that right? Am I getting? Yes, and he's, so yes, and Juliana's our
Okay,
liaison.
so this is Windows. Windows. Perfect.
I have a question on the window. Have you zeroed in on the date and?
Yeah, let's back up. Do you want to talk about where you are? Like Connie,
Yeah. Yes.
because they did get a handout. I think you have it of, there were a lot of emails and we picked one because it seemed like the most comprehensive from Chris.
That is Chris's idea in response to my outreach, so.
Okay.
The email that I sent on March sixth, which I copied the two of you on. Was whether we could get the Willamette Heritage Center some education space at the Willamette Heritage Center, and the answer to that was yes. It's $80 an hour, so for the structure that I had proposed, we would need probably 3 hours for a 2-hour workshop. And what I had proposed was an hour for introductions and short vendor presentations on aspects of historic wood window repair, and 1 hour for participants to circulate among individual vendors, stations, network, and meet with experts and get some demonstrations. Basically, because that would allow all of those local craftspeople it would give them a reason to come and do some demonstrations because it would be outreach for them. And in my experience, it's really hard to find these people in a sea of big box advertising. It turns out there are quite a few people. Chris has rounded up about 7 people from the local community, 7 craftspeople, who are from Salem, Staten, Albany, and Corvallis. So the furthest one away is Corvallis, but she works in this area. 3 of these people have worked on my house and they've confirmed that they're willing to come. They worked on other houses. So the financial support we would need for that would be about $240 to pay for the rental space. Chris had suggested doing something much larger, which he had previously proposed doing in his workshop in Albany. And he sent you the information on that as well. And that would be like a 2-day hands-on where people actually get trained in how to do window preservation.
And he's doing that already, right? And all I thought a $400. Well, when I went on the website yesterday, it was open for registration.
That's open.
$400 a person for 2 days.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's way beyond the scope of what our city responsibility is. But I actually have discussed this with a couple of neighbors as well, and most people do not want to become window repair experts. I mean, it's honestly a nightmare, which is why it costs so much. And part of the value of doing the demonstrations is that it helps people to understand what's involved and what the risks are of trying to do it yourself. And for me, develop an appreciation of why it costs so much. And also of what can be done, because usually people just rip them out and put in replacement windows, because when you go online to look for how to repair your windows, that's the advertising you get. And I mean, I get so much, from making the inquiry, you get bombarded. So personally, you can see, personally, I'm leaning toward creating an opportunity for people to get some information and also to promote the local people who are running these small businesses, who are really hard to find. And I mean, I've put a lot of effort into finding these people and so have other people that I've talked to. And they're still invisible to me until Chris makes a personal recommendation or something makes a personal recommendation.
So, yeah, I wanted to suggest that you might be able to get a free place.
Yeah, and we have some information about that, but
That would
I
be
had a
great.
few more questions first.
Yeah,
We've been
but
doing some
we've got,
legwork.
the church, there are two big churches in the National Register District.
Yes, and we have done it there before, so Joan actually suggested that.
Yeah.
Another option would be to use space at Willamette Heritage Center and use one of their windows as the demo.
Yeah, we've done that before, so
Yeah.
I just wanna speak a little bit
Okay,
about
so
the
that's
city and what we've done and what our
Okay.
capacity is, if that's
And-
okay.
yeah,
And then,
and
but
just-
but before we do that, did you guys land on a date?
No, because we needed to know about the venue, so that's the thing, we're losing the dates as the weeks have passed.
Okay,
We're losing.
so my,
So our preference would be to do it either during May because of Historic Preservation Month, or to do it like in June or in fall. So we're
Oh.
currently looking at dates in June. They have Mondays available and Saturdays. So those are the.
so my
options.
concern about the education room is that it's small for 7 vendors. It's very, very, very small.
Okay,
So and knowing what I know about the kind of, to make it useful for people and for them to be able to bring in their stuff and things. We've had several successful window workshops at Willamette Heritage Center
okay,
with Chris in the past. One was a hands-on one where he was teaching people how to restore windows on one of the historic houses, and that was a 2-day event.
yeah.
And we also were able to use the dye house, and because he was doing work on one of the historic structures, we got to use the dye house for free.
Okay.
But it took a lot of coordination. And I believe we did require people to pay a small amount of money for that, so we had catered food for the days and that sort of thing. So that's one, just to give you that context. And then I know there was a previous year where we had a collaborative effort with one of the churches, and again, I don't think it was Chris, it was another crafts person who did some work on windows at one of the churches, and then it was a nice way to do that. But for this, and I can let Michelle clarify the dates and numbers if you remember them, but so we have a number of different potential venues at the city, is like the space we're in, for example, but that would probably, we didn't look at that. But Pringle Hall, if you're familiar with that, that's a pretty big space, that would be a good space for this. Which if so there's two options, it's roughly about. Do you remember the price it was?
I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah, so we can have it for free if we're willing to wing it because right now there's a couple dates in May that are not reserved yet. And so essentially your city commission, so we could use that space, we could reserve it for free and have library Anderson rooms as backup, maybe if that works, but we can't secure it unless we pay a nominal fee, which is, I'm gonna say roughly around the same as what Willamette Heritage is. And if you're familiar with that space, are you familiar with that space?
Which one are we talking about, Willamette Heritage? It's not the diagram, it's.
No, it's the education room, so it's on the first floor. They don't usually rent it out.
They use it for field trips, so they rent it.
It's small for kids. I've been in there. It's probably about half the size of this.
No, that's not this.
Okay.
Maybe a quarter.
Yeah, there's a 4-hour minimum. Friday and Sunday. $156 an hour. Or
Friday to Sunday.
Friday through Sunday.
Okay.
4-hour minimum for the booking and at $156 per hour. If you do it during business hours, it's $65. That's the normal weekday 8 to 5. And if you do it Monday through Thursday outside of business hours, it's $85.
So
an hour.
Michelle,
But
do
there's
you
no-
remember what Saturdays are available? Cause I don't think they're looking at weekdays. I think it's just
Yeah,
like
I
the
mean,
weekends.
look here and see what they
Friday,
look
Saturday.
like.
For folks to attend.
I think more people will come if it's a weekend. and I
Yeah.
think more people will come if it's short.
Yes,
enough, but it's not the whole day.
so like 2 hours.
Max,
Yeah,
yeah,
so,
yeah, which is why I thought, you know.
Yeah.
$80 an hour is not.
but
that
if
much.
there's a 4-hour minimum, that's enough squish time.
Do we have budget?
Well, that's what I had asked.
We
is-
can pull it out of our CLG budget
Okay.
if we're quick and precise.
Well, that's why.
I
had
think, I'm
asked.
looking at poor Robert. Yes,
If we
Okay.
have, you know,
Yes.
if we can fork over $240. Or, you know, maybe they'll give us a bigger space.
they won't, like, I talked to the education person, it's just simply not available, is the issue.
They're just busy.
It's a very busy
So the
time.
space
Yeah,
is- so the-
So yeah,
The space is too small,
because
really.
it took us, we planned a year in advance for the one that we had at the Glen
But
Heritage.
we could do it in May, or we could do it in the fall, I mean, the
Well,
vendors are excited to do it, so,
For
So-
May, they had the 9th and the 23rd,
yeah, and
Saturdays.
so Saturday,
actually didn't work for the group anyway, so.
oh, that's where we were asking about dates, what dates would work for them?
Those are.
For Chris, yeah, but the 23rd, I'm not even gonna be here,
Or what, I'm sorry, what was the other day?
The 9th,
the 9th,
May 9th and May, and
is it the 9th?
It's like the second, 9th, and 23rd of May.
Okay. And I think they offered us. Gross.
I think the second is not.
Okay, she offered us the 16th and the 23rd.
Who's she?
Heather Ritchie, the events reservation
Oh,
manager.
I don't think that's a good venue, I don't think you should.
Sounds like it's too
It's-
small.
It's too small,
Education.
unless you severely reduce the number of vendors, like that would be
Well,
appropriate
we have
for,
3 confirmed.
but I would
And
not,
it's only half the size of this.
it's less than half the
Less.
size of this room.
And you really think we would need?
I've been to these before, definitely. It's
I mean,
because
even
if it
not-
was just a person showing up and talking to a group. The way that room is set up, it's for field trips and it's got a lot of tables. And there's a podium and it's meant to have a lot of students sit and have one person talk. My understanding of what you're talking about is that there's different stations for vendors and they're gonna have. Windows and window things and you want them to be able to spread out.
Yeah. so they need to-
Pringle Hall is probably twice as big as this.
Yeah.
And it has a kitchen and there's 2 full rooms and an outside area.
So it's $156 an hour for Sprinkle.
on Saturday, a minimum of 4 hours.
But we could get it,
We could figure it, we could
we could like,
secure that, the city could, and there's plenty of parking and that sort of thing. Again,
that would fit with that
it's a
budget.
Pringle Park, there's a nice park.
Yeah.
And Megan actually
But the
has the
date
calendar, she has the calendar, the availability calendar.
Oh,
for that.
so
So every Sunday in June is completely available.
in June.
But we can't do a
You don't wanna do Sunday, sorry, I heard
Saturday.
weekends. So just Saturday, do you just wanna?
Yeah, if you can.
Are you meaning
Is May,
morning?
is May 2nd, 9th, or 23rd?
May 23rd is open,
Okay.
And May
But
9th.
and May
is
9th.
open.
yes. But Connie said she's unavailable.
What days in May do work?
It looks like the second.
For your group, not for the vendors.
Second and 9th, according to this email.
Okay,
For Chris, 2nd and 9th, for others, the 16th. Or the 23rd. But I
Oh, so
can't-
not everyone is available at the same time.
No, they're not all available at the same time. I think we should go when Chris is available, but that's why at this point, I think we should push it out a little
okay.
further because it's already been.
I think that's fine to push it out. I don't think it has to be during May.
No,
you know.
I think at this point, it's too short of notice.
Do you wanna get back with your group?
Well, I need to know if we can provide a space and.
Well,
what
it sounds,
dates we can-
it sounds like yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can look at Pringle Hall, we can fit,
Pringle Hall would be the one I would recommend, and I know it's not Willamette.
there's parking, it's in a
Yeah.
park, it's a nice
And
setting.
it's a really big space.
What date, what Saturdays in June are available?
What
Yeah.
time frame are you thinking that you would like to
10
have?
o'clock.
So 10 to 2?
And then 2. If that's a big,
Gives time people to set up.
yeah, and where are you going away, where do you come?
I think
Chris says that he's got something in early June.
How about, so we made a decision, we'll have, we don't have to hold it in May, we'll have it at Pringle Hall. I think if you wanna get together with the vendors and then work with Kim on the schedule.
Yeah, any Saturday in June.
And Connie,
If that works.
if Chris is willing to do, I mean, this is great work you've done. If you're willing to also think a year ahead, I think that then we could collaborate with Willamette Heritage Center.
To do something bigger.
Yeah.
And use the like kind of what we did before, but that, because they have so much they do.
Yeah.
That doing something this short, I mean, and they're gracious in that they would let us use the education, which again, if it was just Chris coming, that would be fine. But if it's lots of other vendors, I wanna make it worth their while.
Well, I agree, and Chris is the one pushing. Centers.
And maybe just share, we would love to do it next year, and then I could get more grant money.
And do something bigger, like
Yeah.
you suggest, if there's an interest.
Yeah.
I mean, if more than 10 people come.
Oh, I think there's probably an interest, like we've had people ask, we've had, when we had the window workshops before, we had. Probably about 20 people register,
Which is
it's a good group.
It's been such a long time.
It's been a very long time.
Yeah.
So we're, it sounds like for them, we're discussing about maybe postponing until next year.
Well, maybe do something bigger next year, we can.
So still have like the smaller this year.
But something,
Pringle,
yeah, something.
And then do
that's
something
just-
bigger next year.
Yeah,
Right.
Okay.
excellent, but Pringle this year.
Yeah.
And I guess, did we, or anything,
or a church.
Megan and.
Yeah.
I mean. Is it still like beautiful?
A lot of people like to middle of the day times, so that's where so it's like you could
Can
have
have it
gone
from 8
earlier,
to
or you
10.
could have gone later, but.
And it could be, it sounds like even in fall, like. We can have our window
I feel
workshop.
like I wanna, there's strike while the iron's hot, like if
Yeah, I agree.
there's a group, like according to the email.
I don't wanna
if
string these.
The
people
9
along.
or, no, I know, but it's like, I don't wanna, if May 9
If May 9th would work, that'd be great.
for just even most people.
Yeah.
So Megan, May 9th, what time?
Hold it.
All day, you guys.
Oh.
But we're probably gonna have to snap them up.
Really
you
quick.
know, like-
We'll grab it.
So Michelle, the billing codes are the CLG ones.
The CLG, okay.
Yeah, so lock it down for us.
Okay, well.
Is that
we
okay?
will-
May 9th.
I just don't want it to go away. Can we
It's
lock
called
it down?
Pringle Hall.
Pringle.
Did I send you the application?
I'm gonna put Jake in charge now.
Okay, because I'm not really sure how to fill it out, because I don't know what all they want. There's a lot of questions on there, like, do we need sound, do we need, we're gonna have food.
That's what I.
Megan's gonna do it.
Help.
Love, thank you, Megan. And food, we're gonna have, we're gonna wanna use the kitchen.
Yeah, okay,
But
and the 10 to 2.
like I'll bring, like I bring it here. People are gonna, we're gonna ask people to bring that in.
Okay.
We're not keeping.
Are you charging additional? I understand.
I don't think we have time to do. We're not gonna charge, right?
No.
Yeah, we're not charging.
Okay, so.
We don't need sound. There's gonna be no singing. Well, I don't know.
So window karaoke.
Oh my God.
Preservation.
Yeah,
We're gonna have to compile a preservation playlist.
I know we will. Oh my God, maybe we do. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be good. Two architecture ones.
All right, I'm gonna move on.
Yeah.
Any other kind of questions about the work plan assignments at all? Or updates anyone wants to share? Are we good to move on? Okay. Let's move on to outreach. And we can talk about as much or as little as we want, but we'll try to wrap up here and maybe get people in, so. So this is kind of a continuation of what we were just looking at, so start photo contest. We have the Cheen Bean, right, so you said it.
Chain me.
Thank you, Cheen Bean Festival coming up
Good job.
fairly soon. I went to this once, it was fun. I can't come this year, but I'm glad we're still doing that. I think Kimberly's still doing the Salem History Moment podcast, right?
I was gonna mention maybe the winner of the photo contest, you can highlight like whatever the photo is of.
Yeah.
Maybe you can do a little episode of that thing.
And I did want to mention, Juliana, I did do it aired this week. As you talked about Cherry Blossom Day, I did the podcast about Cherry Blossom Day.
Nice.
Yeah.
There are, the state park workers were putting up all the lights
Yeah,
and the lanterns.
Very exciting.
And it is already, and it's in full bloom right now. And the big festival is on Saturday. I'm gonna be out of town, but it's gonna be Saturday, and then for the next week or two, it's gonna be lighted up at night. So the lanterns are gonna be lighted, so it's gonna be.
maybe folks will take pictures for our historic.
Right?
I would so.
The HLC's pre-newsletter, I saw that went out.
Yep, exciting,
Yep.
right, everyone?
It's good, it's good. We just talked about Historic Preservation Month.
Yeah, and I think just to point out in this context, this is where we need your direction about how to work with the communications team to get the word out to social media.
I was thinking, personally, I have not heard anyone express a huge amount of interest in trying to maintain our own socials. And I know Andrew was doing that for us for a long time, and then he finally was like, I can't do it anymore.
That's not on the commission.
Not on the commission, it was very generous of him to do that, but I think it would be best if we just rolled our stuff up into the city of Salem. And had the city social folks already just do that for us.
I don't see why not. Representing the city of Salem.
Yeah.
And
That's,
is there
so I don't know if we have to like vote on.
Agreed.
just straw poll?
Does anyone feel strongly that we need our own because if you do, you're gonna do it?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
Speak now or, alright, we will let them know that will be, I think, a big relief.
so, yeah, we'll have to try to maybe, I don't know, maybe we can convince Andrew to post something like, go here instead now.
Well, they'll do it, we'll ask them
Okay.
to do it.
Okay.
And then anytime there's like fire for an event, and that makes it super easy to share.
Yeah.
Yep.
So like I usually share that stuff on Reddit, the Salem Reddit.
Yeah, and so like for Connie's window workshop, it's now Connie's window workshop.
Yeah.
We'll just need, I mean, Chris probably already has stuff and things, but like once we land somewhere and who's gonna come. The city can do a big press release and I guess we'll wanna know if we want people to register. And we could even do a little, they'll program it for us, so people can register, like, he's gonna make it real simple.
Julie, plays a clubhouse, I think she's done these before.
So it's great, like, that's great, so just send it our way and we can get the word out. I mean, we don't.
I guess anything else well, this is just a general, anything else to promote, but I think we've rattled off a number of things.
I think we just
here.
wanna like, we're gonna do this every month, so
Yeah.
like, we just
Yeah.
wanna know for this
coming-
between now and our next meeting, anything else that. And even if you just think about it after you get home, just shoot us an email.
Do you know if the Heritage Center talk on the 27th, you could register for the costs?
There is a cost, and I do have a press release. I know, he's really great. He used to be the National Park Service Director, and he lives in Oregon, and I can't believe they got him to speak, so
Yeah,
definitely
Yeah.
everyone should go. It's a nominal fee. We will send you the information through Michelle.
I haven't heard that, so it's exciting.
Isn't that exciting?
okay, and then, future additional support from communication team, new HLC logo and brand. Do we want to update our logo? I don't even know what our logo looks like, honestly.
I know, neither really do I don't know,
Yeah.
I think it's on our newsletter, it's not awful.
It's on the, it's whoever did on the annual report,
Yes,
it's on the letter from the chair.
from you.
It's really not.
It's really not, yeah, it's that little one that you have up in the, or
Yeah,
maybe you didn't even
totally.
notice.
Yeah, it's just the.
We developed
Just like
it
found
like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
See, it's really sticking in my brain. I feel like it might be time.
So this is like flags, right?
And a professional.
Flag redesign.
Yeah, just like that,
Yeah,
we're gonna
just
have a
like that.
whole thing.
Yeah, logo content, yeah.
I'll just put a beaver on the back.
So is this?
It'll be a fish.
So is this,
Sorry.
is what's proposed here that the communication team might like run some ideas, like they would come up
That's
with?
what they do, but again, it's for future, but
Yeah.
they're really looking to us to give themes and like, what do we want? They're not gonna just like do it. We
Yeah,
need to
yeah,
like
yeah.
have benchmarks.
Once we decide, then we need lunch.
We, right? Yeah,
I want a hat. I want a-
yeah, t-shirts,
Bumper
That's
sticker,
a-
license plate frames.
there you go, the whole thing.
Okay,
Yeah, and it's more like, cause they are helping us more with the social media so that we have a recognizable, memorable.
I would say sure, yeah, please. Help us.
Flags.
But then, but before we do that, again, this is for future,
For
you guys
future.
need to,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
and we don't have a full agenda
Yeah.
and it's not late.
Yeah.
We'll,
Okay, So, yeah,
not me,
take-
someone who knows how to do this, help you.
take a look through here and then we come back next month.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can add this back on. Okay,
Yeah, it'll be a regular check then, so,
okay.
Yep.
Great, okay, I'm gonna move on then.
yeah,
Officer report.
well, I'm going to NWAC next week.
Oh,
And that's help me just get
Northwest-
Northwest Anthropological
Conference.
Conference.
I've been to NWAC before, it's been a long
Yeah.
time.
I used to be on the board for many years.
It's in Bellingham, and all the people I asked, nobody's letting them travel.
Yeah,
Grand
yeah,
Rock.
Yes, so, I mean, there'll be, it looks like good, I'm excited for the canine leopard dog presentation. I know.
This is the first time in 15 years I'm missing it.
And they don't have a virtual option. Anyway, well, I'll report back, I'll take lots of notes and get handouts of that, they do handouts and. I love them. And then. We are working on ideally, hopefully for next month, as part of our update at the end of each meeting, we just wanna kind of share what's going on with the administrative reviews and cases, because I feel like you have no idea what we do. So,
that's good.
I mostly do the archaeological reviews now, and Jake handles all the historic design reviews, so. As you've most likely noticed, there's been a bit of a lull in terms of major cases. For the archaeological cases, I think that was a good idea, Jessica, for me to bring one, so you can get a sense of what that is.
Yeah.
I meet once a month with the representatives from the tribes, and Jessica comes, we discussed, so like, we had our last meeting last Monday, and we had 5 cases to discuss, so it's been quite busy on the archaeological side of things. And because it's so busy, so the different thing I do there is I limit, you'd appreciate this, I limit the discussion, we have half an hour slots. We'll see how that goes moving forward, it's just like for that first case we had. For the Oxbow Slough, the guy was like not expecting half an hour, he just kept going and going. Yeah.
You're good at the wrap up music.
Sounds like
Yeah.
a good idea to time box people.
Yeah, well, because it's hard, the tribes don't have a lot of time.
Yep.
Anyway. Yeah, and so Jake, I don't know if you want to share anything compelling from historic design review land.
Yeah, we're kind of on track. Since I've come here, in total, we had an average about 30 cases altogether. So you all see some of them. It might be administrative. And I think we're about on track.
A year,
What's that?
30 cases a year.
I don't wanna add more work by any means at all, but you're talking about like reporting out kind of the administrative reviews.
Yeah, just so
a
you get a sense of.
A different commission I'm on that does land use stuff, they provide a kind of administrative overview each meeting. And
Yeah,
it's
so
just,
we were
it's
gonna
just a
share.
really simple, and it actually is really helpful to see like,
Yeah.
what's the status? Have they actually done anything, like especially if they apply for a permit or something? Is anything happening with it, but
Yeah, that's kind of what we're
Okay.
figuring out how to do that, and then You know, we also do, just so you're aware, city project reviews, so that's review of any alterations, both interior and exterior to city-owned historic properties, of which we have several.
Yeah.
And also, enforcement, so you can have a sense of what kind of issues we're having with compliance. We have compliance for both archaeology and historic, so.
Can we get an update on City Hall at some point?
City Hall. Yes,
Yeah.
we're supposed to give you guys a tour.
Oh, I love that. That'd be great.
I know,
Yeah.
yeah, and. Yeah, and we gotta check in on timeline. Yes. And then I know like for other projects like the state capitol building. At some point you guys are gonna do walk.
Another one, okay.
That'd be great.
And then I'm trying to think of any other big ones. Oh, they just did their grand opening ceremony on Gussie Bell. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that one.
Yep.
If you see that. For those of you who don't know, that's over by we go over there as a group early. It's over by the state hospital, sort of your Jake's neighborhood, your Leavish Cemetery. And we just had a meeting earlier this week. The city is gonna be getting the conservation area, which is just abutting the Lee Cemetery. City parks are gonna be taken.
The tree, the old tree that. they're
Oh, yes,
taking
the
down.
tree.
Is there, I know I read about all the different things, the change going to Land Heritage and everything. Is there any plan or a way we can suggest? Could be the royal we, like me and them, but, suggest that like a slice be taken out, preserved.
A cookie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that has been brought up.
Cause I know they talked about like counting the rings and like, seeing what, but like, is there a way we can like do
I'll
that?
follow
preserve
up.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, cause that would be really freaking cool.
Online somewhere, someone had that at a park or something,
Yeah.
a ring, and they had little.
Yep.
Metal tabs that showed like what was happening.
Yep,
at
the
various
events,
times.
yeah, I love seeing that stuff.
Muir Woods has that.
Yeah.
They have a bedwood tree.
Especially, I wanna see like the article I read and mentioned about the Calapooyas, and their land management practices. And how this tree is gonna gonna have that in its history. So to see that, if there's any evidence of that, would be really cool. And I expect that to look like if I had to guess or something, if there's any burning in the area, might some burn, but I would guess that the rings would be really big, like, because they were doing practices that were really making the valley large,
Yeah.
So I could see that as like the big rings.
Yeah. I'll follow up with the city forester.
Okay,
Another thing that might be wonderful is to have some of the wood given to sculptors or.
You remember when we were at
yeah,
for our Christmas party and the guy, did you see the little wooden sculptures? And it was also like bowls and spoons and things that he had taken wood from, I believe it was Bush's Pasture Park that was salvaged.
they mentioned.
Carved it.
Yeah, St. Paul's Episcopal has a sculpture by a sculptor who carved some famous doors and all kinds of stuff from an oak tree that it was on the site where that church was built.
That's very cool.
Too, so there's this sculpture that was, and it's very raw and muscular, but anyway, there's some things like that can
It'd be part of the percent for the arts.
Okay.
Civic Center.
Fish.
I gotta stop it. Yeah, I'll follow up.
I had one other quick thing that I meant to bring up earlier, and we had chatted about it a little bit, but I just wanted, we don't have to talk about it right now, but just to kind of put a bug in your ear. course, there's a 250th, celebration for the United States. And I was thinking, gosh, it'd be interesting to do like a Salem 1776.
We got a grant.
Idea. Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was it like here in 1776?
Yeah.
So we had to focus on that. But
Yeah, we got
okay, that's great.
a $3,000 grant to do interpretation. And
Look at that.
we have a year to spend it.
Awesome.
That was one of the big diseases considered like in 1781, 82, that killed so many people,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great to hear. I think we can do some
know.
really cool stuff.
Asking you.
Yeah, great. Man, I just mentioned it.
That's like on it.
Okay, any other discussion? Good news? Okay. All right, I'll thank you all. I'm gonna adjourn the meeting at what, 7:33.
Good job.
Something. Thank you.
And well done, Brandon.
We're not live.
Yeah.